Hi everyone, it's Krista from Hilltop in the Valley, where we look to nurture the home and nourish the family, especially with farm-to-table foods. Today we are making beef stew, and I'm going to can it in the pressure canner. I'm going to take you along to show you how I do this, and I will share my recipe with you. Remember, you can go to hilltopinthevalley.com and you can print this recipe off. Then you can do this at home. And most of all, I just really want to show you how I do this as a special needs mom of 4 kids. So this is a really good tip for if you are a busy person, busy mom, whatever type of busy you are, and you just think, I cannot do this canning, I can't even try. It's to split it up. You don't have to do it all at once. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be cutting up my potatoes. I've got 10 cups of potatoes to cut up. I have 8 cups of carrots to cut up. I'm going to put that into the fridge for later when I'm able to put the soup together, okay? So this helps if you are just feeling too overwhelmed to do canning. Split things up. You don't have to do it all at once. I did not realize that at first when I started this canning journey of trying to learn all of this, but you can. You can do things in separate tasks, and that's what I'm doing today. I never thought that I would be one to do canning. I always thought it sounded like way too much work for a little reward. And it turns out there's a lot of things in life that I think that way about, that it's just way too much work for a little reward. So I have learned that work is good, and I have learned that the reward is actually more than I thought. And I have also learned that when I do things and I work at them, I learn better ways to do them and ways to be more productive in how I do them. These are skills that are so helpful for bringing nourishment to the home. Okay, this is day 2. I don't have the time to actually cook it right now, but I do have a few minutes before I have to go to the library with the kids, and so I'm going to go ahead and chop up the onions, and then I will try and fry the meat on the stove, and then I'll just put it aside until I can get to it to heat it up and actually make the soup. So remember, we're just browning the meat. You don't have to actually have it fully cooked. The reason I do this is because browned meat tastes a lot better than just boiled meat. And so I'd rather brown a little bit before just adding it to the soup. Also, I'm going to cut, I don't have the meat on the counter here. Not all of it is cut up. I'm going to cut it first and then put it in the pan, because it'll go way faster cooking if I just cut it first and put it in the pan. Again though, you don't have to cook it long. Just get it a little brown and then set it aside. Hey guys, okay, so I have all of my vegetables chopped up. It's a new day and the kids are gone for a couple hours before I have to go pick them up, so I am going to try and put this all into the soup. I don't know that I will have time to can it. So my biggest goal right now is just to get this into a soup, get that all made, and then I will come back and can it, unless I have time, right? Maybe there'll be time, maybe. We'll see. I do not use a lot of ready-made foods. It had been my goal to kind of move away from them, and I did, but I really do think it's great to have some kind of ready-made foods. It's just, you want to know what's going to be in them. And I feel like doing canning is one of those ways where you can control the ingredients and you can know what's in your foods and know that what you're giving your family is a nourishing item. 5 pounds. This one's all over here. Whoop, gotta turn it on too. I don't know, I might need a bigger bowl or a bigger pot. This is a lot. Okay, and our tomato sauce, pizza sauce, I'm going to do 16 ounces of this, about 2 cups. And I'm doing sauce because it is basically just a part of the broth. that's why I'm doing this as opposed to like a paste. I'm just doing a sauce. I like that it already has the flavors in it. So it's going to infuse all of the basil, the oregano into the beef flavors and give it a little bit more of that red, I don't know, Italian spice, Italian herb type of flavors with it. I love that with the beef stew. So this is some beef broth that I made from just soup bones that were left over in the Instant Pot. Okay, there's 4 cups. We're gonna do 8 cups of the beef broth. And then I'll put another 3 cups of water in. I already have 2 cups of the tomato sauce in there. The water will just give it some more liquid. Okay, there's the last of that. Okay, so for the herbs and spices, we've got our sea salt. It's just coarse sea salt. It will go ahead and just kind of melt into the soup, so I don't have to worry about it being coarse. I've got pepper, and then I'll do some oregano. I've got some thyme from our herb garden, some coriander. This is from our garden because it was from our, oh my goodness. It was from our cilantro. Their seeds are actually coriander seeds. I did not know that until more recently. And so I saved them to use for coriander. I will go ahead and grind these up a little bit, and then I'll use that for coriander. And then lastly, just some paprika. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel. You can also follow along and see some of my other videos. I love to use einkorn flour and make breads, do sourdough. I love to share with you some of my other canning recipes and also other recipes from the garden. So check some of those videos out, and let's get started on our beef stew today. Okay, so I went ahead, I got the soup going up to a boil, and then I let it boil for 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes is up, turn it off, take it off of the hot stove top. And I can't actually do the canning right now. I don't have enough time until I have to go get the kids. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get the kids and then come back, and I will do it this afternoon once the kids are home and we're doing a little bit of a quiet time. This recipe, the quart jars have to be canned for 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is quite a while. When you're canning meat, it is just a long time of canning. That's the safe way to do it, and we're gonna do it the safe way. So I will be doing quarts, canning in quart jars, because I want that bigger quantity since we have a bigger family. We are a family of 6. And I'm gonna be using the same canning lids that I used last time, which is the Superb. I've been testing these ones out. They are made by a family that's been canning for 5 generations. And they came out in 2020 to try and battle all of the lid shortages that we went through back then. You can see more on this in my last video, the pizza sauce canning video. I kind of talked about where they came from. Basically, the lids are made to withstand a lot more than your common canning lid. So these ones you'll notice, I'll see if I can zoom it in here for a second. This blue rim is basically an extra thickness. So in a normal canning lid of your leading brand, you've got this little rim around the edge, which is your rubber, and that is what attaches to the lid when you're canning. This one is extra thick, making it a lot better at attaching to that lid and not letting go, because I've had a lot of lids that have let go and haven't sealed correctly or will come unsealed. And I started using this. None of my cans came unsealed last time. We're gonna try it this time and see what happens. Hopefully it will be the same results. And they also have a lot better rust record. So here's some of my canning lid bands. And you'll notice on these, I just don't have as much rust as a normal canning lid would have. I do have one here that sat in water because I don't all the time wash them right away like I should and then dry them. I really do feel like you have to dry them out quickly. So I have one that did get some rust in it, but I still feel like it's not as bad as I've had with other canning lid bams. I am going to continue to use these. I think when you are trying something out, you have to try it out over and over and over to know for sure whether this is something that you like. But so far so good. I am really impressed with this brand, and I'm going to continue to use it, experiment with it a little bit, and I will keep you guys up to date on how it is doing in our household. Oh, also, so the Superb canning lids, I get them from Cooey Housewares. If you guys want to try them out, Cooey Housewares has given us a coupon code. You can look in the information box below. They will give you 15% off if you click on that link and go to cooeyhousewares.com to grab some canning lids and try them out. So anyways, thank you Cooey Housewares for doing that. Just look in the information box below if you want to try them out. All right, I am going to go get kids. I'm going to come back and then we will get this on the stove into the pressure canner. Got all of the jars into the pressure canner. I'm going to go ahead and let it heat up now. I'll let this thing steam for about 10 minutes boiling, and then I'll put the little cover on to hold the pressure in. Then I'll wait for the pressure to rise to 11 psi, and then it's going to be in here for an hour and a half. I will be checking on it, making sure that the pressure is staying at that level because I don't want it to get too far up or down. I did have a little bit of the soup left over. I am going to use that for dinner tonight. I'll add in some of the other broth that I had, and so we'll get to enjoy this tonight, but our cans of soup won't be ready until tomorrow because after you take them out of the canner, of course, you have to let them sit for 12 hours. Make sure that they are sealed completely. But I will let you know how it all goes, and hopefully we'll have some really good, some beef stew very soon. Okay, we're back. It's really dark in here right now. I feel like it's just gray outside. This is the Northwest natural winter. I went ahead and I finished canning them. I finished that hour and a half. I let it completely come down from pressure and then cool off for a little bit. And then I took the jars out and then I left the jars here for 12 hours before messing with them. And I've come back and I've checked the lids to make sure that it's all tight. Every single one of these lids sealed, which makes me very happy, especially after all that work. So looking at the rust on these lids, I did not see a lot of rust either, which is also makes me very happy. So I am definitely a fan of these Superb canning lids. So we went on a trip It was like the day after I did this, and so I just kind of left them on the counter all weekend. But tonight I have to go somewhere also, and so this is a really good evening to try our soup for dinner. I also have some sourdough bread that I brought back from the weekend. We're just going to have that with the soup, make a really good meal. If you are wanting to make sourdough bread to go with soup, then I do have my einkorn sourdough recipe for beginners, which uses the all-purpose einkorn flour. That is one of the most simple recipes, great overnight recipe for sourdough bread. I also have a whole wheat recipe that I like to use as well. So we are going to gather around the table, try out our soup. You can also pour the soup over noodles. You could put it with rice. You could add other vegetables to it, like green beans. You could put tomatoes in it. Now, I did not make this recipe with beef, so this really isn't beef stew. This is venison stew. But I say that because I want to tell you that you can also use other meats besides beef, such as venison or elk. If you like to use game meats, this is a great way to take those out of the freezer and put them into something that you can have on hand and just open up a can for dinner. All sorts of things you could add to it. So let me know if you guys try this recipe. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. And I'd love to hear if you guys have done very much pressure canning also, if this is something like what you make regularly. So I'd love to hear if you guys are making your own soups with canning and how you make really easy meals at dinner time. Let me know in the comment box below, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.